besides audio issues. If I have all over live, never mind. this, this is a data center news show, and we're just chatting. I'm Amy Palvido. I'm the CEO of FacilaMax and Red River Infrastructure, and I have some friends in the house today, and we're going to be talking data centers and all things data centers and more things about data centers because this is a data center news show. So before we get started, I'll let my friends introduce themselves. Go ahead, Andy.
So I'm Andy Erda. I'm corporate strategic marketing for LS Electric America, which is headquartered globally in Seoul, Korea, in the U.S., in Lincolnshire, Illinois, where I'm based out of. And we make everything from high voltage transformers all the way down to panel boards and the related components, and also some automation. And a good chunk of that can be utilized and has been utilized in data centers.
Well, yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. Actually, a lot of bit. Isn't that right, Sean? All right, Sean, introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, everybody. Sean Farney, VP of Data Center Strategy for JLL, and I help our clients figure out how they're going to adjust to things like GPU, power dense environments, and liquid cooling, and finding digital dirt, which is site selection, and operating facilities. We help our customers operate about 5 gigawatts of data centers. So all kinds of fun stuff to stay busy with these days.
Awesome sauce. All right, let's get started. So PTC, Sean, I saw you out there. We survived. Oh my Lord. That was a crazy conference. It was my first PTC, and it was a lot to deal with.
Huge learning curve.
Lot.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah. I mean, just
like no other.
Yeah, I mean, at the Hilton, they're making the best out of what they have and what's available at the Hilton. It's kind of all over the place, and the different ballrooms and the different places. And on the first day, everybody's excited, and they have crammed them into these little small rooms. But it was definitely interesting for sure. And then everybody has parties everywhere. It's like Waikiki gets taken over by all these PTC people, which is kind of interesting. So that's my take. Really,
I'm surprised there's not a company that will concierge service your entire PTC experience, because it's a high barrier to entry. It takes years to figure out, and there's the right parties and the wrong parties. But such great energy this year, record-setting crowd, tons of deal activity. Speaking personally, so much going on, but it is, and I always say, afterwards, I say, I wish this thing was in Vegas just so we'd have not so much jet lag, but certainly nice to have it in Hawaii. But it is a working meeting from 6 a.m. to midnight pretty much every day.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Great way to launch the year for sure.
Yeah, my lesson learned, I need more Red Bull. I couldn't stay awake. It was I was 10 o'clock at night, and I'm falling asleep, and there's still parties going on, and I'm like, God, I'm so old. I can't. And then you're missing out on stuff because it happens really late. So I definitely needed more Red Bull, or energy, vitamins, whatever, because I did miss out on stuff for sure. I know. It's crazy. But yeah, and I guess the other lesson learned is you got to learn where everybody's camping out at. There should be a map. JLL's at this hotel, and these people are over at this hotel, and these people are over here. Because everybody, they find rooms, and they, Powerhouse was next to y'all. And then there was a bunch of other different people in different hotels. That would be really useful to have. It's where is everybody hanging?
Yeah. And PTC has nothing to do with that, and they don't have insight. They should bring all that stuff together and offer that up as a service. As part of your ticket. But you have to kind of learn that on your own. And we've probably already rented our meeting room at the Halekulani for next year, because that's what you have to do. And same with where you stay. It's a tough nut to crack, but definitely mandatory for the industry.
Yeah, I kind of liken it to South by Southwest, which is a huge event that gets overtaken in Austin, come in March, and it's and then everybody has like their houses in all these different places. So downtown Austin is like just a block party basically. And what South by did was everybody, they kind of knew that this was happening, so they just created a Luma page where everybody can put all of their events, even though it's not officially a South by Southwest event, but it's happening in the periphery. They created that, as easy as that, and then everybody just uploads everything, so everybody knows where everything's going on in one place, which is kind of nice. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. So maybe PTC will learn that. I do like the women's events and things that they did for the women, to get them together, and they had like the whole week long of stuff at women events. So yeah, Andy, you should go next year. You'd be amazed at the amount of people at PTC.
I was just looking it up while you guys were chatting. Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting.
It is one of the events, right? Like one of the major events. Like if you were to pick, PTC is one of the events for the data center industry. Sure.
It's always interesting when you have to approach your boss to say that you need to take a business trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, but it's what I thought was really interesting this year, because I've been a bunch. It used to be almost exclusively senior level folks. This year, it was much more democratized. There were different career phase folks there that I noticed a lot for the first time. So it's really it's becoming much broader. But it's a pretty easy sell when you look at who goes there, who has presence there, and a lot of companies make that their kind of annual kickoff meeting. You know, bring the sales team or bring the management team. So a must for sure. But yeah, it's got some perception issues with Hawaii in January for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. Yeah, I actually will look into it. We're only doing 13 trade events this year. In fact, 2 next week. We're doing AHR in Vegas, as you mentioned, and we're going to be at Distributech in San Diego the same week. So I'm spending 2 days at each. So and then we go back a week and a half later to another show, Intersolar in San Diego. So busy beginning part of the year for us here.
Yeah, for sure. Distributech is one of those that kind of like PTC is like usually used to be like a connection conference, and then it became very data center focused because it was driving a lot of the interconnection, like a lot of the digital infrastructure. And then I think Distributech is the same, right? I've seen it started to focus on data center kind of leaning because it's driving a lot of the interconnection growth, right? I would assume, but yeah, I've not been to a Distributech, but we'll see. Who knows?
It's a good argument that we're in a data center economy, and if we didn't have the strong growth in data centers, we would probably not have the robust marketplace that we have going on in this country. Even with all the headwinds with tariffs and whatever, it's still a very busy time. And Sean's tagline sums it up perfectly. So many people want to have their data centers and they want to get it done in very little time, or as little as time as possible. So that's the world we live in right now. And then there's people that are worried about expanding on transformers. I got contacted by a market research firm that's trying to find out is if you invest in medium voltage or high voltage capacity of transformers, will that fall on its face? And my opinion, for what it's worth, is that I don't think the transformers are going to go anywhere for at least 10 years. I think there's going to be a strong demand for especially utility grade transformers. What do you think, Sean? What do you think on that?
Well, with transformers, it's always more than meets the eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone?
I mean, anyone?
That's my. Don't you remember? Okay,
is that your dad joke for the day?
That is what it is. That is.
Right.
So I date myself with that one. That was probably like early days of transformers, like 80s or something. But any of the power pieces and parts, it's like I said earlier, it's a great time to be in that business. And what we saw, kind of thanks to the pandemic, was multi-sourcing. So before COVID, hyperscalers were very loyal to a brand of power equipment production, generators in particular, but whole power lineup, ATS, switchgear, all of it. Like, I grew up with this gear and my team is trained on this gear, and I have the sparing and the consumables and the mops and everything. I'm just going to look here. During COVID, because of supply chain challenges, the risk people stepped into purchasing and said, you will look at the top 3 or the top 5 in multi-source, which was a great lesson learned for today, because we can't build fast enough. We can't get parts fast enough. And we're looking at mix and match across portfolios of gear. So it's great for new entrants. It's great for companies like PSIX, who makes generator engines and other pieces and parts, for a component maker to pop in. That wouldn't have been possible 5 or 10 years ago, but now we've really opened up what we look at. So the upstarts, the folks that specialize on just specific areas in the power chain lineup, there's room for everyone, and now we've got this collaborative approach. So it's interesting, and I think that fuels startup energy and new companies to come in and fill these holes. And the decision makers know now that they have to kind of create a basket of suppliers and solutions. So it's to your point, Andrew, like, it is really the U.S. is the number one place for data centers in the world right now. I don't see that lead ever being relinquished, and it's because we're embracing. We got pushed by this time to revenue pressure that really got amped up when Wall Street got involved in data centers, when ChatGPT dropped at the end of 2022. That combined with constraints on power and equipment really kind of turned up the pressure a little bit, and we reacted, and now we're pumping. We are going, we are jamming. Other countries have data center moratoriums. We've got an administration now that is encouraging growth and has defined it as a national strategic objective. And on top of that, we got the smartest people in the world, headquartered at these hyperscalers in the US, with teams of PhDs working on this stuff. So I think it's the perfect storm in a good kind of way. And yes, there's some scarcity, but scarcity, if you look at the history of industrial development, scarcity is a good thing. It pushes us. And so I see a 5-year runway. I'll extend the recently coined, JLL coined investment super cycle, which is the next 3.5 years and $3 trillion. I'll extend that out to 5 and say it's well over $5 trillion for the entire value chain. So great time to be alive. Unless you're Roxanne, you got to find all these people to work in these places, and
exactly. She's here right when we're about to talk about data center construction. Roxanne shows up on time, on cue. Yes, exactly. So is anyone surprised that data center construction was like 4 times what the year before? Like the amount of construction that happened, like they did in November 2025 to November 2024 in the amount of volume. And obviously the numbers could be inflated because we have supply chain and inflation and all these other things, but still it's 4 times in the dollar amount of construction in November 25. I'm sure Roxanne felt it. Like she's having to hire people left and right for this industry. And then we have this $3 trillion super cycle that JLL is just now, ordained. And so how are we going to get that done? Roxanne, how are we going to hire all these people, Roxanne?
Well, I think that's a loaded question, Amy. How we're going to do it is I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing in sourcing. I'm combating primarily the thought that there isn't talent in the market. And so I think a lot of companies are giving up on looking for talent. But I can assure you, I go to conferences, I go to forums. I am the most popular person there. People are always approaching me like, hey, what do you have? What's moving? What cool projects are happening? I want to work on XYZ. And in the trades, people are looking, people are ready, and they're ready to make decisions. The caveat that we're falling into is we have companies that aren't ready to make decisions, and that they're too busy looking at their budgets to really see the foresight of making decisions quick in terms of talent.
Wow. Okay. So you're still facing that? I hear this is like the same story I've heard from you for a while now. Like people are still like not ready to move. How could that be? Like I don't understand. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, JLL hires a lot of people. Sean, y'all do that too? Do you do it at Roxanne too? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think it's a multi-factor. I think I do watch what JLL does. I think they have an extraordinary program over there. I think they are one of the ones that does move quickly, and they implement workforce implementations that allow people to move through their company quickly and train people and fill that middle management gap. But when we kind of slice and dice things down, sometimes it comes to that middle management. It's not necessarily always HR not willing to make the decision or the executive level. It's kind of the hiring manager in between that may not know what they're looking for, exactly what the project needs, or what the skills are that are required for that. And then in my role, when I come in and I'm saying this is what you need, and it contradicts maybe what HR believes, then it becomes a huge meeting and a huge powwow to see what the role is.
So my question to both Andy and Sean is there a gap between what is needed in the market today or maybe in the market 2 years from now that isn't addressable with the labor force that sits today? Is there a gap there? Is there training needed? Can you just pull out of your back pocket the perfect data center technician today or data center construction person today? Or is there a huge training need? I'm just curious. And Andy, you're building transformers. I'm sure you're having labor issues, y'all are growing, right? You built your Bastrop plant. So what are you seeing? I'm curious.
It's very interesting because we were looking at doing some expansion in Bastrop, which, by the way, is very close to SpaceX is there and the Boring Company, and X has moved there. So the labor force is tough to find good people because there's a lot of competition in that small little area, which is outside of Austin. There's a lot of other business too, and it's not that far from Houston. So there's a couple hours from Houston. So there's a lot of draw for people, good, talented people. So it's difficult in any industry today. My daughter's a dentist. She can't find qualified people either, a qualified associate dentist. It's a vacuum. But your question was 2 years hence. So in my prior life, I was Square D Schneider Services for the Midwest, and I had about 13 sales engineers, and we had a cadre of service techs, and a lot of them did stuff on data centers. And the problem is we're not bringing enough people into the trades that I see that can do the service work for startup, commissioning, and repair. That's a very painful need. And I think that's one of the area where we need to convince more people in high school, instead of going to college, they should really look at the trades, not just electrical technicians, but plumbing, whatever. I think that's important. I think too many people are hung up on going to college today, and when they come out with a marketing degree or something like that, they may find themselves working at Starbucks or something like that instead of having a high-paid trade job. So I think that's one of the arenas. The other thing is, which is interesting, we have a facility in Utah, which is MCM Engineering. We purchased them about 4 years ago for do custom switchgear, and we just kicked off an expansion of 100,000 square foot facility. We're going to be starting to build low voltage there. So they say in that market, and I probably shouldn't say this because people might go out there and put infrastructure in, that they do not have an issue hiring people, and they can find good people out there. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to expand more in Utah than Texas. So that's the only way I could, answer based upon recent decisions. Now, the transformer factories we have right now currently are in Korea or Indonesia, and we also augment with some third parties. But we purchased a company several years ago, High Voltage Transformers, that was a supplier, and we doubled their factory over the last year for utility grade transformers. So we built pretty strongly in that arena. That's one of the reasons why we're going to be at Distributech, to let people know that we are committed to servicing utility grade transmission.
It's the whole life cycle of the construction project, right? Even from the supply chain. If you're having labor issues at the supply chain level, and then you have labor issues just building the dang things, and then you have labor issues operating them, it just kind of slows the whole thing down. Sean, are you seeing anything at the JLL side?
Seeing so much, and I was playing around trying to share slides because I've never done it here.
Oh, go for it.
It went away. I was trying. Hold on. Let's see if it'll open this.
I love slides. Slides are awesome.
I know.
Can you?
I do too. Okay, so it doesn't let you share something that's open. So.
Oh, okay.
That's
technology challenges. I pretend to be a podcast host on most days.
Technology is wonderful when it works. I have I lost an hour of my life today at a Walgreens because of their technology issues.
I'm waiting for someone to write the app that manages all of the 17 different meeting flavors of meeting platforms, so that I don't have to learn how to share files and cameras and audio every single time.
Because the button's in a different place every single time. I'm like,
give me the single pane. Okay, so it's open. It'll open at some point, maybe when we're done with this podcast. But labor.
Right.
So I'll use an anecdote. So a single project alone in Abilene, Texas, we've hired about 200 people in the last 12 months, and we need a bunch more. And we've depleted the local supply of labor, and we've started shifting our own internal people around. And we're working with local community colleges to get to where there's certificate programs, so that you can get certified as a data center tech, and then we'll hire you right away. So we can hire hundreds and hundreds of data center techs right now, and that's not going to stop. We keep getting these. We got a new deal very recently, 247. So it's just going like bonkers. And Andrew, you're spot on. I've been saying this for a long time. We need to, at even the middle school level, start talking about how much the great logos and what working for a data center company means vis-a-vis their phones. Like, kids understand that. The guaranteed 100% employment program that going to work for a data center company is, and in the very rich payout. It's very, very well funded career.
Do you want me to drive your slide?
How the hell? Okay, hold on. How the heck?
See, there you go. You're driving.
It's trying to get to. Okay, this isn't bad. This is decent. Here we go. So this is just several of the different themes we've been talking about, the growth, but it just shows you what's going on. So basically, we're going to double in the next 5 years. So we're going to double the switchgear we need. We're going to double the people we need. We're going to double the land that we need. We're going to double the power that we need. So it's not going anywhere. So buckle up. It's a blast, and we got 5 years, or almost 5 years. And
does anybody have a labor shortage estimate? Has anybody done that? Do you know?
I haven't seen an authoritative one, but anecdotally, we are. And who knows, between companies like JLL that do operations and those that self-perform, I don't know what the total labor in the data center field is, but I would bet we're going to be at a 20% deficit for the next 5 years. So we need to educate more. We need to. We at JLL are doing some re-education of our CRE FM folks who aren't necessarily data center folks. It's a lot of those folks have great mechanical and electrical knowledge already and can be easily trained to move over. We're working closely with the unions, incredibly skilled folks who are very open to training and have dedicated training centers. The operating engineers and the 134 are really good about this, and we can inject our training programs to get some of those people educated. So I'd like to see it every, not only community college, but associate degree schools and four-year schools. I'd like to see within the College of Education, I would like to see a digital infrastructure school, and as part of it, have all different components of data center education, because it's everything from the physical layer 1 in the OSI model, if you're old school, up to layer 7, the presentation application, the coding side of it, and everything in between. So it encompasses everything IT now. In fact, data centers has probably subsumed all of IT, and then adds in the mechanical and electrical and plumbing. So it's a broad field. But I can't believe that the universities aren't focusing on it more. And still to this day, there's a couple programs out there. SMU has a formal one. I used to teach a data center class at Northwestern, my alma mater, at the graduate level. But there's still just a real absence across the industry, given the amount of spend on data center stuff. So it's training, education, and really marketing the role going forward, and the amount of jobs. Could speak forever on the topic. I won't.
Andy, did you want to jump in?
I just wanted to say that we actually have training in Bastrop in our facility there on UL 891 switch gear. It's real gear. It's not simulation. So if you know anybody that wants to train people on real gear, we're open to hosting that. Just so you know. And we'll probably also do that out in Utah once it gets that facility gets expanded.
Yeah, it's great. Some of these community colleges who already have mechanical and electrical certificates, they have real equipment, and that's why they're probably the best. And it's not a stretch, but partnerships to get folks to be able to touch the real stuff, and learn how to do maintenance. All the O&M stuff, because a lot of our FM folks do wrench, they do maintenance, they do sparing and consumables and things like that. So you got to be able to touch the gear. That's fantastic.
So let me ask you. So it's 100 gigawatts of new supply in the next 4 years, but the numbers that we're throwing around at PTC, where there's like 1.3 terawatts in the interconnection queue. Like, we don't know. Some of that's probably duplicative, requests. Like, we don't know how much that is. That's like the weird phantom number, but still. So is this conservative? And $3 trillion for 100 gigawatts? Could it be more?
There's a million numbers out there.
I know.
And I think the bigger numbers sometimes include land banked property, which can double requests. So you have to be careful what you look at. I think this is very conservative, and our research folks are good, and there's a lot of numbers behind this. Happy to share it offline. This is scary enough. Even conservative, like this is a double. Different ways to look at it. And there's a lot of development which may have a power study, which is never going to actually be a facility. So it's wild, wild west. I trust JLL research, and my head of research can defend those numbers pretty well. Yeah,
no, it's fair. It's it could be more, though. I mean, it's really kind of interesting to see where we end up and going. And but if you take a look at like let's be real. Like my little site in Martindale, Texas, is, we're not going to get connected to the grid for 10 years. Like, that's what they're telling us. And so we're having to do behind the meter stuff. So we don't even know, like, if all those people are doing behind the meter deployments, like it's interesting to see where it'll go. But it's only going to go up. I don't think it's going to go down.
It's not going to go down. And we could have a major paradigm shift. So in 3 years, Oklo could crack the code. They could get a hold of fuel from the national stockpile, and poof, they could suddenly be able to produce 5 gigawatts of power, which would immediately be sucked up. And that's something like that is not at all reflected in this. So this is doesn't reflect things that are going to happen in the future that we don't know about yet, which is kind of redundant, but still scary, conservative, backed by what our clients are doing. And we could have a huge jump off, or there could be adaptive reuse where that power is in some ways already accounted for, but could be large facilities as well.
Yeah, no, I know. It'll be interesting to see kind of where it goes, and everybody figures out new methods and ways to do faster delivery of capacity. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what everybody's trying to figure out right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a cool thing. Do you have anything else you want to share on your little slides?
No, there's all kinds of slides here, but I just wanted to share slides. Now I know how to do it here, and now I'll always.
Oh my gosh! I've armed him. We're gonna have slides every week. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we had a good. Here we go. This is one for Andrew. This is equipment lead time. Look at transformers, especially over in EMEA.
Yeah. That's 33 weeks though is not awful. I mean, well, depending on when it used to be worse, right? Wasn't it like, I don't know, something crazy town, like 2 years?
Yeah, Gens got to between 2 and 3 years for large diesel.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
I don't know how to turn this off. I got to figure this out.
I can turn you off. See, there, done. I got the power. That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about this. The backlash of you have a data center and everybody hates your guts. That's happening repeatedly. I love the ones that like use, I don't know, YouTube and Facebook to announce their displeasure of data centers and how evil we are and all these other things. And then I love getting on there and going, did you know that the only reason you have Facebook is because of a data center? Like, really? But everybody's feeling it. So at PTC, they had this big panel. It was Andy Power from Digital Realty. It was Tag Gleason from QTS, and it was Randy Brockman from EdgeConnect. And they were on there, and they were all saying it. It's like, especially Tag was like, in our communities where we have active data centers deployed, we are the best ever. The community loves us. Like, they all love us. We do a lot of stuff for them. We do all these great things. But in the communities that we're going into, we are evil. Like, nobody wants us there. Nobody likes us there. So how I mean, as we see some of this and how we're going to face some of this, what is it? I mean, first of all, like, look, like in Texas, if you're in the county, there's no zoning. If you're in the city of Houston, there's no zoning. You can't stop us. Like, nice try. But they can make it unbearable if they really wanted to. So I'm just, but that's Texas. I'm very lucky, the state I live in, that we can do that, but not everywhere's the same, like Pennsylvania, Indiana, Wisconsin, whatever. You're seeing this kind of uprising all over the place. And so how do we handle this? Like, what do you see happening, Sean, in the market and everybody else? Like, what do you see?
Well, we didn't address this for too long because we're too busy building. I would echo your sentiments. I know the data center that I built, I bought a new water main for the city of North Lake, Illinois. I distributed a whole bunch of free software. I threw a lot of barbecues. I had the fire department over quarterly for a big walkthrough and a cocktail party. Data centers do great things, and the list is really, really long. We did a bad job of marketing over time, and now there's some organized NIMBY groups. And to your initial point, I would love to get a kilowatts consumed per click or like on social media to demonstrate that these NIMBY groups who don't want data centers anymore are actually pretty thirsty power consumers and are really responsible for the thing that they're trying to prohibit, which is a whole different story. So I think we're fixing this already in conjunction with the administration, Microsoft announced their way that they are attacking this with good marketing, but with their framework, demonstrating that what we're being told about power is wrong. The reason power prices are going up is our grid is aging and the utilities have fallen asleep at the wheel and haven't replaced infrastructure for 30 years, arguably. Data centers don't use water anymore. We can give you numbers on PUE and all the other consumption of natural resources. So we're actually pretty good actors in the space. Microsoft is quantifying all of that and bringing it to market. Soon, the other hyperscalers will join in. I wouldn't be surprised to see a very well-funded PAC, which just pumps out all the good things that data centers do, and the increasing need for data centers because of what our kids and grandkids are doing with devices and sucking down data. And data centers aren't a creator. There's this perception that data centers create demand for data, and that's not the case. We're reacting to it, right? So we are in this industry, we're the best at anything we do. So once we swing around to this one, we will defeat this with the truth. The truth will set us free in the industry. So it's okay, but I've been surprised by the resistance. And it doesn't make sense to your point.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, I agree with Sean. A couple things. It's marketing, but I think it's more of public relationship, like what you did with the city of North Lake. By the way, Sean, you're in the Chicago area?
Born and raised in Chicago. I lasted 50 years in Illinois, and then I crossed the cheese curtain. So I'm up here in very rural Wisconsin.
When I worked for Yaskawa Electric, we had a lot of Packer fans and I'm a Bear fan, and we called the Illinois-Wisconsin line the Cheddar Curtain. You could steal that term, okay? Just so you know, you're behind the Cheddar Curtain now.
I say cheese curtain. I'm a little more
cheese curtain. Okay.
Broader.
He's still cheese agnostic.
I got it. Yeah, but anyway, did you catch the news about Naperville? The people they had on there that were upset about they didn't want the data center to move in because it's noisy and it pollutes and of course the power thing, which is, as you pointed out, is a misnomer, because it's true that all utilities, and Amy, Texas is a big one that's has not updated its infrastructure for very long. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. If you look at our power distribution network, a lot of it's 100 years old, and it's very archaic in many ways, right? So that's a big issue. But no, I agree. I think it's a PR thing, and I do think data centers and the big plus that I heard them say this, because we don't want to trade tax abatement for health concerns. So I think that needs to be turned around, Sean, to show that we're gonna make your life more affordable by a data center being in there, and we're going to be a clean operator, noise and air and everything, and make that the case with the facts. And I think that will help turn a lot of people around, because like you said, there's a lot of negative BS out there about what goes on. And of course, not to pick on that fine Texas resident, Mr. Musk, but he did kind of get past some of the issues with some of his facilities with his diesel generators, because they're not permanent, and some people took umbrance with that. So, but I think the only reason why he's doing that is because he couldn't get power transmission power. He had to do something to keep the lights on and move the data, right?
It's totally fair. I mean, yeah, and this whole phantom power problem, really, honestly, truly, if I was Google, everybody, all the power people get ticked off at the data center people. But if I was Google, I would do the same damn thing. I'm getting yelled at by my customers for more capacity, and I'm trying to figure out where to place bets, and I'm placing bets all over the place to see, one hits, okay, I'll drop the others. That's just because there's a lack of data. And if they had more data around what are the true capacities and what's the queue sitting like at all of those things, and it's not this black box you submit a request to and maybe you'll know if you're going to get power or not, or when you're going to get it. It's very difficult to live in a business environment like that. You can't manage. It's the crazy. So they're doing what they're trying to do to manage it. It's a data problem, but maybe we'll figure that part out. But I digress. I squirreled. I was on my little box. I'll step off my soapbox now. So I've heard brokers though. I've heard brokers get a hate mail when they send out a data center thing. That they get hate mail. People will come back to them and yell at them for promoting a data center play. Roxanne, do you get hate mail for promoting data center technicians? You do. It's interesting.
I get hate mail, but I think I get it in a different fashion. It's more personal, like, why are you supporting this? Why would you support these endeavors? But I sometimes I appreciate the hate mail. Number one, it puts things in perspective of where the world is, and it's an opportunity for education. And so I agree a lot with Andrew and Sean as well. And, you know, in the last 2 years, I think the data center space in general has done a lot to kind of demystify what they do and who they are and who the companies are. And that's kind of a downstream trickle effect all the way down to the contractors, right? And in particular in construction, and educating them on what the upstream of data centers looks like. So that because they're right there with the community, they live in the community, they're part of eating in the community, all of the things. And so them speaking well about their experience on site leads to more education. So it's kind of the overall community relations, starting with, you know, the people who are actually building it and doing it, and branching out. And I think in the last 2 years, there's been great strides. The hate mail's been less, and I think people are more curious now than hating on it, but it's shrouded in like, I can't believe you work at this space. And I'm like, I love it. I don't know what's wrong with you. It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I know.
Remember, Roxanne,
crazy.
they're probably communicating you via email or some sort of social media. So if you didn't have data centers, you wouldn't be able to tell me you hate me. So.
Yes. And my favorite one is like, there are no girls in data centers. So I was like, well, I don't know where you've been, but there are plenty. I mean, there could be more, but there's a good number.
No, but it's representative of the entire construction market, entire engineering market, entire real estate, private equity, finance market. It's it's about there. There needs to be more women in general. Don't get me on that soapbox. But data centers aren't worse than everybody else. Trust me, I've been in all of those. So
I would just like to say that I've seen over the last 20 years many more women in engineering in general. So I do think that that ceiling has been busted there. There's a lot. And when we used to have a mentorship program at Yaskawa, we used to bring new grads in, train them, and send them off to distributors. And that was usually 50. If we first started, it was probably about 20% women and 80% guys. And then the last couple of years that I was there, it was at least 50-50, and sometimes it was 60-40 women. So it's a good field for them to get into.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's a great field to get into, and I'm surprised the data center industry isn't stealing, like, all those multifamily technicians, like those people that have to be multi-skilled, like, HVAC and electrical and carpentry and everything. The only thing they don't know is like low voltage connectivity, but but they know everything else. Like the multifamily industry will hate my guts, but like seriously, I don't know why people aren't stealing all of them.
I don't know why they aren't either. This is what I'm saying when I've faced this within companies that don't want to make decisions. They're looking for easy decisions, like, oh, they have 3 years of experience on this project. And I'm like, well, that's really hard to find because people are very project based. We can find it. However, I'm like, you have all of this avenue that everybody checks everything in every box. Let's just use your multifamily connection. And you just got to teach them this one thing. Why aren't we going where there's a kind of an abundance of talent in a way, if we think of it that way, and bring them over? And so when I talk about talent in general, I talk about talent across the construction spectrum. So I get in my firm here, I get that view, right? We deal with all construction. And so I'm like, I see the connectivity of how adaptable they can be if you have the training program that will support them. And I know Sean was speaking to that earlier when he was talking about, bringing people over, and, you have to create that structure internally, and that is a cost. but it's also a cost saving measure in the future, and it'll stop the cycle of no talent. There's talent. We just need to be creative about it.
Yeah, for sure. If we, yeah, and I think most people will. They're going to solve the problem, but they might solve it with robots, right? Sean, have you heard of robots? I've heard of robots.
Robots. We're testing robots right over here in downtown Milwaukee. We've got robots on site that will supplement. That's not a replacement of staff. That's augmenting. They can run all night and do silly stuff. They can do great rounds and readings, and then because we do have a labor shortage, the folks we do have can be tasked with higher order stuff. So robots, good thing.
Have they been? So you have one. So they're just doing. I know that they had robots doing like security, walking around and doing those. They had the robot dogs. So doing readings, which is pretty cool. Any other like major? Are they swapping out blades yet? No.
They can do. Yes, they can be trained to do all types of repetitive tasks. It's really great for remote hands when you need to see something on a piece of gear. They have thermal capabilities in that for preventative thermal issue or electrical issues. This is a really cool scenario. We haul in thermal gear now reactively when there's a problem. If we give a robot a thermal camera to add to rounds and readings, we can see leaks, which could lead to arc flash issues later. So this is like life-saving type of stuff. We give robots the repetitive tasks that should be done but aren't because of labor or cost or both. It could be just a renaissance of rounds and readings and turn what used to be reactive maintenance and emergency situations sometimes into just part of this proactive stuff. So we could drive uptime up, and we could drive recordables down and all the other health and safety things. So the possibilities are endless as to what they can do. There's still some challenges, but we're in the infancy here.
Yeah, physical AI and understanding that for sure. I know there was just a data center fire. I can't remember, and they happen on occasion. But there was one recently, and don't quote me. I don't know where it was at. I just remember seeing it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, well that happens sometimes." But yeah, which is kind of crazy. Would you want to jump in, Andy?
So most of my career was in factory automation before I got into switchgear about 12 years ago. So I fully understand automation and robotics. And the gentleman I mentioned before, Mr. Musk, is actually promising to be able to ship to the public or to industry, true robots that can actually do higher tasks. So we'll see if that happens. That's going to be a big boon for manufacturing and a lot of other areas. But robots are here to stay, and they're going to continue on, and hopefully, they will augment some of the dirty jobs that humans have to do in the past. So it's really a good thing. But the predictive maintenance is really the future for maintenance. You said proactive maintenance, same thing. And today with technology, actually going back to my Schneider days, if you have the right gear and you have the right sensors, you can predict when a transformer is going to get a cold, when it catches pneumonia, and when it will expire. So there's a good case study about Rochester Medical Center on YouTube and also on Square D Schneider's site about how they predicted that they were going to lose a medium voltage transformer. The facility manager finally got funding from the board, ordered the medium voltage transformer. It showed up months later. I forget what the delivery time was, but it was like 9 months. And it was on the dock, and the old one died. So it saved them an immense amount of time.
Yeah.
So Sean, I 100% agree. Proactive, predictive maintenance is the way to go, because if you can fix a problem before it becomes a catastrophe, it's the ROI on that is immense. There's no doubt about it.
All right. We have an interactive audience, and so we have a question, and this one is for Sean. Look at that. People have questions. So around the robots, because we knew this was going to happen, what metrics are the robots reading? And can you say? And then the power quality data or metering data, is that, or what are they reading?
So all the traditional rounds and readings metrics, which varies by facility, but basically it's all the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing gear. So when you're running a data center, if you do the planning right and the design right and the build right, most of your work is proactive operations and maintenance stuff. So you have a team of folks who just go around and check dials and kick tires, so to speak, and do that type of thing. Most of this stuff can be captured by BIM and CMMS and other recording platforms, but there's no replacement for having the walk around, the real presence, the in real life reading. So you continually have equipment that's checked on a daily or weekly or whatever the interval is. It could be per shift during a day. And this is where robots can just take over and do this type of thing. So it could be as simple as sometimes I had my folks do a non-standard routing, go look for red lights. Like we already have established routines for rounds and readings to check gear, but you're just going to go walk around. I operated a 700,000 square foot facility. So it was big. You could walk around, you could do a few miles, you could get a lot of steps. Go walk around and just look for things that look out of place, look for red lights. And robots are really good at doing diffs on images. And you can load a robot up with the manuals for as much equipment as you want. And they can spend 24 hours continuously just looking at gear and gauges and readouts. They can even, in a more advanced way, you can interface with equipment and download logs and all that type of thing. So possibilities are endless, but rounds and readings is an important part of every critical environments program. We all do it. We have to do it. You want to do it. If that can be supplemented and extended by robots, piece of cake. But I don't think, nor do I think we want to replace that in real life element of day-to-day operations. So having that capability extended, and you can do it in the dark with a robot. You can do it when no one else wants to work. And you can also, if you can reduce your third shift personnel, then your safety goes up and your errors go down, because third shift folks generally perform worse because of shortage of sleep and all the other reading. But there's just all kinds of good to having this capability.
Yeah, that's awesome. So people, Andy, go.
So that I agree with everything Sean said. Another augment to have the walk around is to have the gear like on the transformer. It actually measures ozone. So as the insulation of a medium voltage transformer breaks down, there's more ozone. So you can tell that it's starting to die, okay, or degrade, I guess is a better word. So what they do is they pull that to the edge, and then it goes up to the cloud. And today the cloud is very smart. And what they usually do is they set up a healthy picture of when that gear or whatever that product is. It could be a transformer, it could be a generator, goes in, and they know what it's like. And then they, every so often, hourly or whatever, they pull the data to see where it's at. And then they can actually tell when it's going to have an issue. And then they can be proactive and schedule somebody to go in there and do the maintenance also. So that's another assist to the robotic and walk around with the humans. Just wanted to get that.
Yeah, I mean, basically the robots and the IoT sensors, and I mean, the data centers are going to need a whole server rack just to maintain the data. I mean, as you get more and more data with more and more sensors, which they already have a lot. I mean, they already have a lot of sensors, and but you add robots to that, the more data you can collect, and then you have all the sensors and all that other stuff, and digital twins and all these other things on top of it, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of groovy to see where it goes, but hopefully it turns into, data centers become super efficient. We become even better than we are, even though people don't believe us. that we're like actually really good, not harmful to the environment as much as you think we are. I've seen somebody say that we poison the water. I'm like, shut up. Like, oh my gosh, shut up. And he's on YouTube, complaining about data centers, by the way, saying we poison the water.
We oftentimes, I'll speak more personally, in the data center that I ran, we exhausted water that was cleaner than when it came in. And with particulate exhaust, particularly with generators with EPA Tier 4 gear, you exhaust cleaner air than when it came in. So we just need to put data behind this stuff, and again, truth will set us free.
Yes, exactly. Well, this has been a fun show. And, the cool thing, what I just figured out? My hair matches my wall. I've been watching this whole show this whole time, and I went, oh my gosh, I could blend in like a gecko.
Wait, Roxanne did it too.
Yes.
I was just going to say, she must be looking at my picture that my hair is matching my wall.
Too funny. All right. Well, cool.
I'm just glad I have hair. Okay.
Too funny. Well, it's been a fun show as always. All right, let's do the rounds, outros. If anybody would like to get a hold of you, Roxanne, because they really want to become a data center technician or contractor, how can they do that?
Yes, you can get a hold of me on LinkedIn at Roxanne Saponic, or you can call me at 281-359-2192. I'm a little old school. I still answer my phone. Not assistants, but me. And then you can email me at roxannesaponic@josephchris.net.
Awesome. Very cool. And Andy, who wants transformers, how do they get a hold of you?
So actually, the easiest way is the contact us form on lselectricamerica.com. It would be the easiest way to get you to the right people at the right fastest. But you can also contact me on LinkedIn. Actually, I have my phone number on LinkedIn. If you hit the contact information, it's my real number. So you can call me also, and I'll send it a message on LinkedIn. And I will be happy to get you in the right direction.
Exactly. And Mr. Farney.
If you want to hear about the cool work we're doing with retrofitting, how to change your data center into an AI dense data center, doing tons of this work now. Give me a buzz or hit me up on LinkedIn, or we can talk FM or site selection or any of that cool data center stuff. Whatever.
I call Sean for everything. What about this? He's great. It's awesome. Yeah, very cool. Okay, y'all, this has been the show. We will see you next week. It'll be more fun with more people, and there you go. Thanks for coming. Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.